right, y'all. We are about to take a quick trip to South Africa, where I'm going to share an unfortunate story, one that takes on a different connotation than what happens in the United States. Nevertheless, the theme when it comes to skin color is the same. I got this from blacknews.com. Link it down in the description, okay? So if you want to go find the story, you can see what I'm talking about. Before I get into this story, I'm going to tell you that blacknews.com had a picture of the little girl, but I just don't have it in my heart to post this child. Based on what this article alludes to, this quick article, I think this child is no longer amongst the living. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and read the article. Jocelyn Smith, a 6-year-old girl from Western Cape, South Africa, went missing in February 2024. Her mother, Kelly Smith, was later found guilty of selling her to a traditional healer who allegedly wanted the child for her eyes and skin color. According to People, Smith was recently convicted of kidnapping and trafficking alongside her boyfriend, Jacqueline Apolis, and their friend, Stavino Van Ryn. All three now face the possibility of life in prison. Jocelyn's whereabouts remain unknown. During the trial, a neighbor testified that Smith had shared plans to sell her daughter shortly before the girl vanished. Smith later told the same neighbor, "I sold my child to a sangoma," using the local word for a healer. She also offered money to keep people quiet. Jocelyn's teacher told the court that Smith once claimed her daughter was on a ship inside a container heading to West Africa. This statement added to suspicions as the investigation unfolded. Smith broke down crying while the guilty verdict was read. Meanwhile, the case drew strong reactions from the public and media, putting the spotlight on child trafficking in South Africa. Without a doubt, this child was trafficked. Our ancestors, or some of our ancestry, because we can argue or make an argument whether what we call now foundational Black Americans were here before Columbus or not. But I still believe some were in Africa. We're not going to get into that right now. But for the sake of argument, let's say we came from West Africa. You all understand the religions there and the paganism and the connotation associated with certain skin color. Now, on the other side, I would say is in East Africa, is where they get the albino children. And they chop off their limbs in ritual ceremonies, which to me is quite frankly barbaric. I don't care what anybody say. I was born and raised in the United States, so take that however you like. You shouldn't kidnap a person just because of their lighter skin and go chopping limbs off in any ceremony for any reason. But children do get kidnapped in that part of Africa for their limbs and for sacrifice. This story differs from the lighter skin issue in the United States, as we prize light skin, not myself, to the point where we put it on a pedestal. In some parts of Africa, they prize light skin so much that they don't have qualms with giving their child over to what we probably call witch doctors in the West. And people say, you don't understand their religion. No. This woman gave her child away to a stranger and took her halfway across that continent. Pardon my cat, she's gonna meow. She does that when I'm talking. Here's the thing about Black people all over the globe. You'll find this everywhere you go. In the United States, we talk about this issue so often. about the prizing of peoples with lighter skin. We've written whole novels about it. We've made documentaries about it. Nella Larsen's passing, because the Harlem Renaissance, if you get down to the deep dirty of it, Harlem was really obsessed with lighter skin. You don't have to believe me, just go read every one of Jessie Redmond Fawcett's 4 novels, which I have. Especially Comedy American Style, which I read several times. The obsession with light skin is such that people don't think. That doesn't excuse what this woman did, and we'll get back to that. Okay? Around the globe, we have a thing about the prizing of skin that is light. And that's something that I feel fortunate that in the United States we discuss often. In Africa, South Africa is important because you all have to understand that place has the most skin bleaching creams for black people of any place on this planet. The obsession of whiteness in that place. We can go into the reasons that don't matter. I want to get to this child. On the surface, she was trafficked, okay? That's what it is. But if you understand some parts of African spirituality, this child was probably unalived for features she can't control by a mother who did not mind selling her for her own selfish reasons. You'll say, well, how does that correlate with the United States? It is the pedestal and the privilege of light skin in melanated people and how it can have tragic consequences. If you do a deep dive into West Africa, there's a place in Benin, what we now call Benin, what was called the Slave Coast, called Ouida, which is a derivative of the word Judah. I won't go into that right now either. Those people still practice voodoo and a number of things, which the voodoo, of course, came to the New World with some of the slaves. The pedestalization of lighter skin has some consequences for light-skinned people. I understand in the United States, in corporate offices and stuff, they're seen as more polite, they're seen as beautiful. Wallace Thurman didn't hold back in The Blacker the Berry. That book is beautiful. I gotta read it again. It's beautiful in its factual treatment of darker-skinned people. This woman took it a level too far. She did something that I don't even think most single black American mothers would do. Not only did she sell her lighter skinned child to likely be sacrificed to this Sangoma, and I don't know much about that because I didn't research it yet. She boasted about it openly to professional people, to several people, and risked life in prison in South Africa to boast that she sold her child off. That poor baby, I saw her photos too. And to think that your own mother can do that to you. There's some jacked up stuff about African spirituality, and this is a classic example, and I mean no disrespect of why I'm glad I believe in the God of the Bible and I've put away all this mess. Well, I really never did it, this whole pouring libations to ancestors. How can you keep a straight face while saying your child is in a container on their way to an African country, on a continent that she may be familiar with because she's from South Africa, but to a place there's no familiarity, where her mother's not with her? The audacity that a stranger can approach you, and because your child has what they perceive to be the most beautiful skin and beautiful eyes, you can't see past the beauty of their spirit to hold on and say, no, this is my baby. Everybody who participated in this willingly, you can lock them all away under the jail in South Africa for all I care. I'm dark enough that people know I'm black, okay? And I'm not here to be the champion for lighter skin by no means. But understand that sometimes just having that light skin makes you a target. Assuming this little girl has been unalived. Rest in peace, Jocelyn Smith. This story's messed up.